Cafe, actually.
Good morning, Tony Caravan.
You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you don't.
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
I ain't one yet. This is insane.
Thank you, and welcome once again to another edition of Tony Caravan Live. It's 5:20 a.m. Eastern Time on the 18th of January, in the calendar year 2022. If you believe that they didn't mess with the calendar. I've gotten into that a little bit last year. And, you know, some people make a strong case for it. Some other people make a case that the whole thing's preposterous. But, you know, I don't know. These are interesting things to look into from time to time. The title card for this show looks something like this. The morning show, Tony Caravan, The Good Old Days. And it shows a pasta dish and some deeply buttered garlic bread with some, I guess that's probably some just Italian seasoning on there, oregano, things like that. I actually ate that meal when I used to publish an dining and entertainment magazine, one of my many hats I wore. I was reviewing that dish and took a picture of it, and I believe it appeared in the magazine. The title of this show is Lab Results Back, Mixed, Internet Useless. And I put in the first chat of the day, which could be the only chat of the day. Sometimes life stinks. Like that Mel Brooks movie from, it's got to be at least 30 years, close to 30 years, 25, 30 years ago. Anyway, so yeah, I went to the doctor yesterday. Those following this, I mean, today is basically your...
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
You know, this is the true vlog. At least we'll start out that way, and then we'll see where we go from there. I was going to take a picture of it, and I haven't put it up, and I'll do it later today on my Instagram page, which I believe there's a link on my YouTube ROCKFLUX channel for my Instagram page. But I notice I think some shard has broken through in my closet, even though the temperatures have been ridiculously cold. In fact, right now in this area, I mean, might as well go to the whole
The Weather Watch forecast.
Anyway, this is just a quick overview from CONUS NOAA. It's a low Earth orbiting satellite. And this is probably, I don't know, it's within the past couple hours, so it's fairly fresh. If you've never seen this one before, you're new to the show, the lights, you know, the glows are the city lights in the former United States, and what we're looking at are basically just the clouds and the wind patterns here. And everything seems to be kind of mellow, and if you look to the far right, you can see the big storm that just pummeled the eastern part of the country with snow is now out to the Atlantic. And it looks kind of the same way as it did, but just not spinning the way it was spinning. It seemed almost frozen in motion, and like the spin was around, almost focused over the Ohio area into western Pennsylvania, down into West Virginia. But, I mean, the Atlantic was just bringing in snow. We got a lot of snow here, foot, you know, I'm sure it was well over a foot. I was searching this morning, you know, and on the broken internet, and I couldn't find anything. I mean, NOAA had things about, it was like the latest thing on the NOAA weather site, our taxpayer dollars go to this, was, will we have a white Christmas or something, you know? And they were trying to say December was warm. I didn't even want to get into it. It's so preposterous. Did I say that word before? Anyway, there's going to be probably residual flurries in the areas that got hit the worst. The winds were unbelievable starting yesterday afternoon and all through the night. They kept me up. And I woke up this morning. I'm in the mid-Atlantic states, and so the temperature here right now, the morning temperature is, I'm waiting for it to resettle itself. It's saying it's a 27, and the high is going to be 27 with flurries. Now, tomorrow there's supposedly a 50% chance of thunderstorms, which could wreak havoc because there's so much snow that if we were even to get just an hour of rain, but the temperatures are going to be above freezing. They're going to go up to 39. So, yeah, it could be a mess, especially if the sun pops through at some point. Other than that, in the mid-Atlantic states, I guess Ohio Valley, mid-Atlantic, along the upper Appalachian Trail area, Thursday and Friday nights, we're talking about -2 Fahrenheit. And Friday, 1 degree Fahrenheit. So, let that sink in. We're not talking Celsius. We're talking Fahrenheit. So that's bitter, bitter, bitter cold. So if there is some kind of rain event on Wednesday, it's 19 overnight. The following 2 days, it's going to be so cold that it's going to be ice skating land. So I'm starting to wonder, I have an appointment on Friday, and someone was going to come down from the next town over, and man, I don't know. Might have to see if I can do that as a remote doctor's appointment. But like I said, let's get out of this first.
The Weather Watch forecast.
And I'm back. I'm a little bit, I'm not as chipper as I should be. If you recall in the last show or the show before, one of the others, I mentioned how we have I think it was yesterday. I was talking about, to when you have a good moment, cherish the moment, like wallow in it, whatever. Because, you don't always have those moments. And too many times people think that, they get down on themselves and down on life, and because they forget that they've had these good moments. And life is like a collection of, good moments. It's like the glass half empty, glass half full type of idea. You could list all of the good times you've had and list all the bad times you had, and, that type of thing. I mean, but in many cases, it's just like the moment, within the day, we have these moments where we just feel good. Well, this morning I was laying back in bed. It was about time I was going to get up. I get up at this time, and actually it was a little later than normal. And I felt perfect, right? Perfect, right? And then I asked my Echo Dot assistant what time it was, and she said like 4:15. I'm going, oh no, because the wind was blowing so bad that I had put my my garbage bags on my front porch with the intention of, because I get up, I'm usually down here like 3:30 in the morning. The garbage people don't usually come till 4 something, usually maybe 4:15, 4:30. So I go in the bathroom, rush, quick little touch-up shave, but not too close. Splash some water on my face, wash my face, quickly get dressed, and dash downstairs, dash outside with a shovel. More snow accumulated and drifted. Lucky I didn't get a heart attack. I may have one during the show. But I think the heart is the least of my worries. And to make a long story longer, as I'm out there, I'm looking, I don't see any other garbage cans out or anybody put garbage out. So anyway, I just dug a hole by the, and the plow had plowed this mound, this hill up, so it's almost like a fortress. The kids would build a fort if they were having a snowball battle, from the street. So I put my 2 garbage bags in that, dug out an area and put them in that area, kind of protected in case the wind, picks up again. I don't think they're going to blow anywhere. But I guess that for some reason they didn't, today was not a garbage pickup day. Now, I don't know why. And this is another thing with the death of local radio and the fact that in the information age, we don't have any real communications, and how the internet is broken, right? See, in the old days, you would like turn on your local radio station, even if you weren't a fan of the music they played, and you would turn it on to see if there were school cancellations or, stuff like that. Or on the internet, I get, my garbage company has no problem sending me the bill, because I pay online, right? What do they call it? Paperless billing. Now, if they had no intention of picking up garbage or decided because of the snow they were going to delay today, they couldn't have sent out an email blast. Do you see what I mean? And there's no notification, and I don't even know. You got to think of the garbage company's name even. I don't even know the trash company. Let's see if I put in some keywords, maybe I'll find it. Let's see if it comes up. I don't see the name here. Tell you the truth, to be honest with you. Let's see. There's directions to some place. Do they have a website there listed? No, add website. See what I mean? The internet is actually physically broken. Like when you really want information, you have to go hunt. Okay. I don't know. It might be this place. About us, services, facts, free quote, some generic thing. Of course, pay your bills right at the top. Get a free quote, residential. Then you go through all this whole thing. Get a quote. No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I think that's the garbage company. So there's nothing on their website. YouTube, I had a fun, go through hoops and ladders to find it. I could have taken you on that journey, but I didn't. My microphone just fell. So, I haven't been feeling well lately, which is no secret to people. Yesterday I had blood work done. And I'm wrestling with this potential gallbladder, thing. It's like I'm walking on eggshells. Which is the reason for, since this is my personal, today's kind of be my blog, but I'm sharing this with you because this may be helpful for other individuals. I see in my chat, I have 2 of these fake, whatever they are, in other words, 2 things showed up in my chat, but no viewers showed up. Message deleted. Report. I guess I just deleted it. And they just keep, but they don't show up as a viewer. So how does somebody sneak in and, or these bots, they're bots, obviously. But how does this bot, it sneaks in, beats the Google, YouTube algorithm, sneaks in and lays in a couple of things in your chat and gets out of there without showing as, affecting the chat rate. You have an analytics set up here without affecting the chat rate, the stream settings, or anything like that, showing that you have a viewer or a chat or anything. And this has been going on, right? See, they're not paying attention to it. They're paying attention to things like weird narratives. And it's the same with health. If you look up something, I'm sounding like a broken record. If you know what a broken record is. Skipping CD, how does that sound? Or a digital artifact and anomaly in your, digital device, smartphone playback player. Or how about a DJ scratching, repeating something? That's what I'm sounding like when I say this. You look up a question on the internet at these medical sites and you get contradictory answers. Today I looked at some medical papers that were available. See, there are medical journals that you can access online, but some of the medical journals, they want you to pay like $19.95 or a fee just to read the read the extract. The journal. They won't even give you the extract actually. So I checked that because I had my protein and my MPV was kind of high. Both of those, but my PSA, regarding the prostate cancer, the operation I had, that was fairly negligible. So it's like, that doesn't seem to be like, that's it. But but higher protein and this MPV, which weren't off the charts, but they were on the high side. I mean, above the threshold. Usually there's a range they give you. And so they were, over the range. And one of them means you have larger blood cells. One of them means you might have more of something. And they could be, remotely, cancer related, but not necessarily. And, and it would require further testing or something like that. I don't know. So is my doctor going to call me? I mean, what am I supposed to do? See, that's the other thing. You're left in the lurch. Now, one of them does deal with the idea of increasing cholesterol. I mean, that could be affecting an extra cholesterol in the bile, which would be, the gallbladder. I'm sorry for people who don't want to hear this stuff, but that could be a causal factor, possibly, not guaranteed, and it's not one of the major reasons why someone would get this kind of result. But it could reinforce that idea of like this cholesterol type of crystals. Okay. But I do not believe my cholesterol levels, independent of this, were high. So, this is the screwy thing. So I'm going to go to this and just double check this again so I could be a little more specific. I'm not going to show you my personal charts. I mean, that wouldn't be really. But what I'm going to do is look to see if if they do even test for cholesterol. Like this MPV, for example, the range is 7.4 to 10.4, and mine was 11.5. So, that's not like, you know, I've had things where my results were like 200 where it should have been like 100 or something, in other things in the past. So that's that. So that's an interesting one. That normally, I haven't normally seen that one being high. And then the other one that was this protein. Now they don't particularly, it doesn't seem that they tested for cholesterol here, but and I have no idea what creates that. My EGFR, which are your, things that talk about the health of your kidneys, they should be over 60. Mine was like 85. So that's not bad. It'd be nice if it was a little higher, but 85's within an acceptable range. Things like potassium, I didn't have too much sodium in my blood. My chloride level was close to the max, but one below it. CO2 was fine. All these things. Calcium wasn't particularly high. All this stuff. But but like my total protein was like the range for total protein is 5.8 to 8.1, and mine was 8.3. So not way off the charts, though my total bilirubin, which has always been high, was super high. And my glucose fasting was like 85, was basically, or not. And it says the patient is non-fasting. The reference range can be extended to 200. And I was like semi-fasting because I got up real early and had breakfast, but it probably was 6 hours since I ate. So it wasn't like a full 8 or 12 or whatever they suggest. But my glucose still was way down to 85. So I don't eat a lot of sugar. And so there doesn't seem to be any kind of test, or there wasn't any test there cholesterol-wise. Anyway, to make a long story short, I just saw my cat, who got scared when I ran outside before, rushing to put my garbage out, which, like I say, destroyed this beautiful moment upstairs. If the time would have been 3:00, I could have laid there. Now it's like, pain in the arm, pain in the chest, on the verge of a heart attack, probably, drinking caffeine. Maybe I should go grab an aspirin. But there's this thing I noticed, this scientific paper, one of the papers I looked at, and these are the things they don't tell you, because if you go to a gastrointestinal, whatever, one of these guys, everybody says, well, then you need to have your gallbladder removed. And yet they're still scraping, like trying to scrape even closer. I have my garbage bags out there now because they're out for the day. Like, I still don't understand what the deal is. But there's something UDCA lithotylic bile acids. Now that's as opposed to like bile salts, which a lot of people recommend you take or something. And it's the idea of this recycling of this bile something or other, because this stuff's supposed to come back into the liver. And apparently, according to this guy, there's some drug called cholestyramine, all right, that they prescribe. This is the high-end doctors. This is if you went and you were Bezos or Elon Musk or one of those guys, and you checked into like the Mayo Clinic or Johns Hopkins suite they have somewhere. And you would get these like super, high-end doctors, and you'd say, you'd pay them $1 million a day, which would be nothing if you're $1 billion. Say, okay, look, solve this problem. I don't want my gallbladder taken out. Okay, what's the latest? What are you guys reading in in the peer-reviewed papers. What's the latest on this stuff and the test results? And I managed to get on to some of those. Some of those papers were public. I didn't have to pay. And this is how I narrowed this down this morning. That's why I'm on the show at 5, even though I rushed down here at 4:30. And I made this thing yesterday. This was going to be yesterday's title card, but I changed it because we had the snow day to that classic one. So it's like there's nowhere anybody selling anything like cholestyramine. You could buy bile salts, but I don't want bile salt, see? Because this cholestyramine actually says it not only solves this problem of the recycling of the bile, but it helps break up the cholesterol crystals, dissolves the cholesterol crystal bile stones, gallstones. Can you imagine that? Now, that's in this weird scientific paper that I had to dig through some medical sites. And like I say, I've been on the internet for 35 years, so I know how to do this. And I know, and so doctors the average doctor doesn't even know that. What doctor has time? Like I say, I've got one of the best personal physicians out there, intelligent, well-read, really knows her stuff. But, she's so busy, she's running a practice that, I can't see how she could possibly find the time to spend hours, on just one. Remember, this is just would be one topic. And why would she even go down that rabbit hole? Do you see what I'm saying? And in many cases, these specialists, they're performing operations, seeing patients and stuff, and it's the same thing. So, what are you going to do? And that's what I'm trying to say. Lab results mixed, lab results back mixed, internet useless. And I might as well say medical profession useless, even though there's a lot of good doctors out there, a lot of good doctors and surgeons. Now, however, there was one thing in this paper that I did read that mentioned this cholestyramine, all right, that said because it binds with the bile, and so it helps it get in through the intestines, and then the intestines release it, and it gets back into the liver. That's the whole idea. See, a lot of people don't. I've done a lot of research on this. It's like the average person doesn't understand even what the gallbladder does. They think it's like you don't need it. It's like appendix. And they are there for a purpose. In fact, the gallbladder is like a very important organ, right? It affects, it affects your thyroid gland. In fact, the problems I'm seeing could, one of the things was potentially pancreatic cancer, with those numbers of the protein or the MPV, one of those lists possibles, but it was telling you that it would be remote. But the idea is that, you pancreatic cancer can be caused by, this problem. If these bile ducts, get blocked or something like that. But it's the reservoir for bile, and it's released. And here's the kicker: what most people, if you ever hear anyone say, a doctor says to you, "Oh, you don't need the gallbladder." What happens is, what bile does when you eat a meal, and when you have, and if there are fats and vitamins A, D, E, and K, I believe. Okay, this is for some interesting stuff. Are fat-soluble vitamins, so they become available to your body. All right, through because through this process of the bile dissolving these fatty acids and allowing these things to be released in through the intestines, into which subsequently get released into the body, into the bloodstream, and you get those vitamins A, D, E, and K. Very important vitamins. And then that bile gets recycled back in. And another thing, if you don't, a certain percentage of people who have a gallbladder operation end up with diarrhea nonstop because the bile just keeps coming out. It doesn't have a reservoir. The gallbladder is a reservoir, and it doesn't have a reservoir, so it just keeps shooting out of the liver. So don't let anybody tell you don't need your gallbladder or it's an unnecessary organ or something like that. No, it is like it is a key part of the digestive process of your health. It's connected to your liver, the operation, So, here's my morning show. I'm sorry if this grosses some people out or something like that, but, the good old days of me having a nice, the Mediterranean diet, right? Right? Forget it. I'm not going to have that, whatever that, lasagna, or whatever, who knows what that the pasta was, and garlic bread. That's just out of the picture for me for the rest of my life. Unless I were to find somebody who would give me this cholestyramine and dissolve this, because apparently my gallbladder's like filled with stones. And one of the things I noticed has to do with this, it was either the MPV or the protein when I was reading one of these papers. It seems that they are the cholesterol crystal type, which are the ones that, you don't want to have, right? You can have, there's another kind of stone that's less, Now, I haven't seen the actual picture of my gallstone, my gallbladder. I've just got the readout from the technician who took the CT scan, and I'm trying to get a copy of that so I could see the size of the stones, if they are passable and conceivably dissolvable. But do you understand how this works? Everybody's focused on worrying about catching the flu. Literally. I was talking to my 88-year-old mother yesterday. Because we were talking about snow and stuff. And she goes, I found old pictures of when the snow was halfway up our house. And I said, people now are saying this is, because I told her, I said, yeah, people saying it's global warming, causing these snowstorms. Because we've been having them the past couple of years again. And I said, I know all about it. I remember that. Because I had to shovel it. I was the kid. I had to shovel it. It's like everything is wrong. We're being lied to so much. And I said, do you remember the flu, the colds, when we used to get sick, deathly ill? I mean, you get the flu sometimes, you were down for the count. You were out of work for the whole week. If not 2 weeks, you'd be lucky at 2 weeks, and you'd still be coughing for 2 weeks after that. It'd be like a month process till you got better. And you covered your mouth, and, and of course you washed your hands. And if you didn't go to a party, and if somebody wanted to come over to your house, you say, nah, man, I've been sick, you best stay away. You don't want to catch this bug I got. Right? That's the way people talked for years. So what the heck's going on now? They're trying to sell you these, I don't know. Like I guess to say, man, the whole thing is frickin' hypocrisy for profit. Hypocrisy for profit. And I don't know how many if they take something like 1 million gallbladders are taken out a year or some ridiculous thing like that. That's what they should be focusing on. And why isn't Big Pharma just giving people the antiviral pills? Why aren't people given this cholestyramine thing for people with gallstones that dissolve the damn things? Right? Why is heart disease still the number one killer in this country? Cancer number 2. Because big pharma is not focused on quality of life or health. They're focused on profit. And the whole damn thing is hypocrisy for profit. And I'm getting so sick of it, and here you go. Maybe you're just tired of seeing this. The media and politicians are marionettes of big pharma, big ag, big tech, Wall Street, the military contractors, and of course, like I say, media is like a double dose, gets a double dose, because there's big media as part of the corporatocracy that controls all this stuff, but the media is also, gets direct pipeline because they get the money when these rallies, people donate to these saviors that aren't going to save them. All right, that money goes to commercials on TV, big media. I'll tell you, man, it's enough to make you sick. And meanwhile, you're going to go out there probably sometime in the next couple of weeks and have a pasta meal like that. Congratulations. I didn't do anything wrong. Something in the processed food. They say avoid processed foods and stuff. My blood work for the most part was really good. These were the only two things that were like over, had an H next to them. They were high, right? But when I was within all other levels, right? I was like, right in the middle, right on time, right where I should be with just about everything. But these two things are somewhat related, and, I don't know. So I don't know. Hopefully I don't get pancreatic cancer. You get that, it's pretty much a death sentence. Or I have something else going on, or maybe there's something, or it could be related. Nothing pointed to the gallbladder or anything like that. But one of them might have alluded to liver cancer, but my liver numbers weren't that bad. But it could have something to do with cholesterol. But I don't have a high cholesterol diet. In fact, for the past month almost, I'm pouring coffee, emptying my carafe. I probably could drink about 4 cups today. I don't know what I end up getting out of that coffee machine. It looks like it has the capacity to give you 4 cups, but I notice I fill it like 2 or 3 times, refill it 2 or 3 times, but I mean, there's always like at least half or 2/3 in there, which means I'm lucky if I'm really getting 2 to 3 cups out of it, as it makes its way through. It feels weird. I have my shoes off because I ran out there in my house shoes, which are these, kind of old-fashioned Keds looking, those black and white sneaker type of things. I have them leaning against the radiator right now. But it feels weird having my bare feet on the rug. I used to walk around the house barefoot. But I haven't done that in a couple of years. As I got older and all these workmen come in, and I've had work done in my basement, furnace cleaned, repaired, pipes from the shaking of this bad construction outside. Now it looks like I might have a shorted wire upstairs, man. Now I got to worry about my fucking house burning down. I mean, imagine calling in an electrician to try to rewire. We're talking $1,000 or something. I don't have a fucking $1,000 to spend. And, not enough people watch. Normally these people on, these YouTube millionaires, these people that do these shows, and they're on all these platforms that I'm on. They say something, and then suddenly they say, hey, look, somebody sent us a brand new, front end loader or something. or thanks for the donations, we've got, whatever. I got 80 cents at last year somehow through, and it was somebody I knew who had subscribed or did something to my locals channel, and I guess my commission share of that was 80 cents. I got a notification. So out of my whole monetization for doing all of this stuff, 365 shows last year, most of them 2 hours long, all this stuff, giving you advice, talking about my experience, and doing the research for you, pointing you in the right directions. My income was 80 cents. I got 80 cents, man.
Really funny. Really funny.
Oh, man, it's crazy.
Hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I was just telling people I got 80 cents. 80 frickin' cents is all I've made on the internet last year. 80 cents. But yeah, I should put in a call to an electrician and say, hey, there's a light flickering up in my upstairs bathroom, and there's nothing wrong with the bulb, and the switch isn't shorted. I think it has something to do with I don't know what, but it's not good. And then all the leakage I've had, so water could have gotten in there and is shorting out the wires. I don't know what the fuck to do. See, I put in a brand new circuit board. I half blame the guy who came in because he went down and he put in, this was an old house, had fuses in it. So in order to get my insurance coverage, I had to get rid of the fuse system and had put in a circuit breaker, had to upgrade the electric. And he went down there and he saw that the wiring in his mind, the wiring going into the fuse box was basically what you would call, the type of wires you see in houses these days. Like I say, I don't know the various gauges and stuff, so I'm not going to say this, that, the other. But it was, in other words, it wasn't like the old stuff. And so he put in this new fuse box, and he had to run a wire because I needed a washer and dryer put into place. So he had to run a 220 line, up there, and this, that, the other. But he didn't bother giving the house a once over, and he should have. I assumed he did or whatever. I wasn't like on his back, on his case. And he goes, and he puts in, does this work, and he's done. He wasn't, the guy was a pro. He said he just had done some hockey stadium. All right. That's the level of electrician that the guy is, So, he wasn't some just fly-by-nighter. And so, so that was that, and everything's fine. But the thing is, when I was upstairs and when I was remodeling my bathroom, and then I eventually went up to the attic, I found out there's still some old what do they call it? Knob and tube wiring up there. And so when I was remodeling my bathroom, because I had to open up a wall, I went down to the circuit breaker box and I was checking. I would put light bulbs and different, have things plugged into various plugs because I wanted to label the circuit, the circuits, so I knew which was which. So downstairs was no big deal, I was able to turn this circuit breaker off and say, okay, that's kitchen. This circuit breaker off, that's basement. This circuit breaker off, that's, washer, dryer, hot water heater, blah, blah, blah. But it turned out there was one that when I was going up, when I turned it off, it was upstairs. I mean, I figured out there's was just one line going upstairs, and that one just went and probably into all the old new whatever. I'm just telling you, man, you can't can't lose for winning or win for losing or whatever the expression may be. And this chair, despite the fact that I so-called fixed it from going down now it seems almost like it's just not as comfortable. Anyway, like the Indian in Josie Wales said, I shall endeavor to persevere. Josie Wales. I have a somewhere in my collection, I have the speech of the guy from Josie Wales, the Indian. It's something. It's a different expression than the one you're normally aware of. But since I brought it up, here it is. Oh, no, this is 10 Bears. Yeah, check this one out.
It's said that governments are achieved by the double tongues. There is iron in your words of death for all Comanche to see, and so there is iron in your words of life. No signed paper can hold the iron. It must come from men. The words of 10 Bears carries the same iron of life and death. It is good that warriors such as we meet in the struggle of life or death. It shall be life.
10 Bears from Josie Wales. That's a classic. And that's an intense scene, Sorry for the click you're going to hear. That's just,
Good morning.
I'm trying to get my levels back to the point where they're not going to blow your ears out.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
ROCKFLUX.
Let's get this show on the road.
All right, enough about the trials and tribulations of one Tony Caravan. I realized yesterday that I may have taken too much off of this, cropped too much off of this thing here. You have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's the camera that's looking out on the camera 2. So I'm going to do that. So, yeah, there's no need trying to make you fun. I can never eat this stuff before. That's the thing that's pissing me off. And I don't normally get pissed off this way anymore, because I'm trying to chill out and keep the cortisol levels down. It's the good old days. Can't eat that. All because there's a bunch of frickin' marionettes, Marionettes and hypocrisy for profit. This is the world we live in. And when this snow melts, well, no. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. The snow's got way worse than that, too, by the way. Way worse. I should, I wish I could. I don't think I can do it, right? Because I think I might lose connection somehow. I wish I could take my camera out and show you live. But this OBS program that I do use is pretty good about reconnecting. So I'm going to turn on Wi-Fi here. And I'm going to see if I can open up, because Wi-Fi is on, all right? I don't know if this is going to switch to Wi-Fi, if this is going to cause a disconnection. If it does, so be it, right? But, and I have no idea what shoes I'm going to do. So let me see if I go to my iPhone, if you're able to see it. I'm on Wi-Fi, but see, it's not wanting to do it because it wants to be tethered. Damn it. You should see all the available Wi-Fi services there are in the area. Wi-Fi looking for networks. Yeah, it's not letting me do it. I would have to probably have started the stream on Wi-Fi. So I'll just turn Wi-Fi off. Just so you know what I was trying to do, it's this. Now it'll probably work. Or it should work. Yeah. Well, wait. I don't know why this is doing that. Yeah, see? See, what I was trying to do is basically take you over to London. No. I was going to try taking this and pointing this out the front door. That's my audio area. This is the other part of the room. For people who haven't seen that, there's the front door. I was going to try to take you out the front door and show you what's happening. You see how I still use old-fashioned calendars? And then there's another door over here next to that WC. It goes into the kitchen and the bar room. And this is just the behind-the-scenes area here. That's one keyboard. There's another keyboard. It's my carafe. And there's my coffee thing that I talk about all the time. I paid $9.95 for. But anyway. It would have been a fun adventure, but it ain't going to happen. Ain't in the dictionary. It's my 100% charge. Hypocrisy for profit. We're out of that. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll try a Wi-Fi. I don't know how a Wi-Fi show will work. If it would be choppy or not. I prefer a hard connection to the internet because, like I say, there was a list of Wi-Fi people like that was showing up when I turned on Wi-Fi. I mean, this is Wi-Fi capable, but I just run a Ethernet wire to my modem. So I don't want people gaining access to this over, to my computer over the air, hacking into my, Wi-Fi. I don't care if they try hacking into my old smartphone. There's basically nothing on there. I have everything, basically all the proper things turned off, and I don't really use I don't do that auto iCloud stuff or any of that stuff, so they can, where they can kind of come through a back door or something like that. And the other computer, the one that I showed you that had the second keyboard, the one that has all these sound effects on it.
Brilliant!
That isn't even hooked up to the internet. That just comes into here just through an audio cable, the line in audio. So it's not even networked to this computer. So it's completely, and it has no Wi-Fi on it. In fact, the only way I could connect that old G5 would be to hardwire it. So that computer's like impenetrable, literally. There's just no way in. No way. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way, if you're the NSA or, whatever. But I mean, generally speaking, there's no way in. The hardware doesn't exist, put it that way. Even if you wanted to get in, there's no hardware to allow you. No connection whatsoever. Not even a USB. So I'm just using it as a simple
Okay.
that wasn't supposed to happen. This was supposed to happen. So anyway, yeah, so that's my story. That's my morning. I get up. I was having a beautiful, beautiful rest, which is curative to all the organs. And then I get up and my cortisol levels jump, right? Which are the worst things in the world, right? And bad for gallstones and stuff too. And I'm jumping and rushing to get down here to put my garbage bags out, which I realized as I was even putting them in place, it's like, well, there's no one on the streets at 4 a.m. or whatever it was, 4:30. And I'm looking down and up. Nobody has garbage out. And there's this giant snow bank from the snow plows pushing everything out of the street. Crazy. So, yeah. But I'm glad my test results are in because at least I don't have that anxiety. I'm not too happy about the protein and the MPV being high, but it was interesting enough for me to do some research to find that this cholestyramine thing, that there are this, and if there's that, there's probably some other things, and that the possibility that bile can also connect to fiber is good, and I'm on a high fiber diet. But this other thing had this ability, this UDCA litholytic C bile acids, which they don't sell. You could buy bile salts anywhere. But this was this actually dissolves cholesterol crystals, But like I say, this is out of medical papers. I could go we could go look that up just for the sake of it. I don't like to talk about a thing. So, yeah, here's a search I found, and I listened to this guy. He was like really completely out of control. Bile acids and bile salts, YouTube. But this is like a scientist. You won't be able to hear it because the way this setup is. But are bile salts the same as bile acids? Bile salts are made of bile acids that are conjugated with glycerin and taurine. They are produced in the liver directly from cholesterol. Bile salts are important to solubilize dietary fats in the watery environment of the small intestine, which I was telling you about. Glycobile and taurobile acids are also referred to as... See, but that doesn't really explain, The primary bile acids inside the liver are cholic and blah, 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 which are typically conjugated, Let's say where to buy. Can you buy bile acids? See, but, do you really trust these things? And the thing is, I looked at these. Where can I get bile acid? How do you increase bile acids? Bitter foods are great at stimulating bile production. That's what I do eat. See, but I'm not so much, the idea is See, and you're watching this too. How to dissolve gallstones naturally. 10 treatments. You know, you just can't. I think I've already seen this page. Yeah, apple cider vinegar, milk thistle. I mean, I use all that stuff. It's one thing to detoxify the litter. None of these things in here talk about dissolving them, though. That's the problem. So it's like the internet is broken, right? How to get rid of gallstones naturally, 9 treatments. Now, this looks like the exact same article with just a different doctor, PhD, in the corner. Do you notice that? See it? It's the exact same thing. Apple cider. You see that? So the internet is broken. This is the exact same thing. And here you see this 2 bile acids are all prescribed to dissolve smaller gallstones, and they're listed there. Help prevent gallstone formation. Gallstones may reform when you stop taking the medication. Well, not if you don't eat. If you stop eating the food. Let's see what Harvard Health has to say. This is Harvard. All right. Like I say, you got to go to places like these. What are the symptoms? How are they treated? For recurrent gallbladder death, the most effective treatment is surgical removal of the gallbladder. You see what I'm saying? That's what they're trying to tell you. The 5% of cases injuring the bile ducts, that's like too high a percentage. That's a higher percentage of dying from the this thing that they're trying to, give you the jab about. Do you understand? 99.6% of people didn't die, right? Or have major complications. But they're saying there's a slight risk of injuring the bile ducts, and in about 5 to 10% of cases, the surgeon may have to switch to open surgery, right? Which is like messes you up. Loose stools may result, and all kinds of problems. So you understand, here's Harvard Health Publishing, and they're not up. And this is from this year, September 30th, 21, okay? And they're not up on the medical paper that I quoted, just prior. You see what I mean? The internet's broken, and the healthcare industry, it's all basically hypocrisy for profit. They just want that. They just want to take out your frickin' gallbladder. It's just like with this thing. Why don't they just give you an antiviral pill, right? I'm so annoyed, with where we are. It's the year 2022. Imagine that. Do you know what I mean? It's the year 2022. And people are still watching TV, watching your anchors, and playing political games and going to stupid rallies for like some charismatic politician out. This is like something you would expect to see. Abe Lincoln should be coming out there. Come on, man. You're living in 100 years, 160 years, 140 years ago, whatever the fuck it is. 160 years ago. So annoying. See, I grew up, when I was in grade school and high school, I was reading sci-fi. That's the problem. I was taking things apart. I was getting a job, working in radio and getting electronic things, and it was into the future. And then as the march of time, went on, all I started to see, because I was taking notes before computers. Of course, I got into computers 35, well, actually more than 35 years ago, 40 years ago, because I had a Commodore computer. I bought one as soon as it came out. And I was writing like basic code on that, creating like space Star Trek type scenes and stuff. I wasn't playing games with it. I wasn't really that much into that kind of as a gamer in that sense. I was more into the code writing. And so, when you think back in the 80s, the year 2020, I remember watching 2001 A Space Odyssey. Just think about it. It's 21 years since 2001. All right? And the movie 2001 A Space Odyssey. And they were going out, out exploring the gas giants in a spaceship and had bases on the moon, by then, and, all that stuff. Well, earlier than that, actually. And so when I look around now and I see people going to going to rallies it's 100 some years ago, old political stuff. People blaming a snowstorm on global warming or climate change or something like that. And it's like everybody I talk to who's over a certain age, over the age of 45, say, can remember way worse snowstorms and much hotter weather. You just dealt with it. And I dedicated shows last year to it. Remember, the Dust Bowl of the 30s and stuff. People just they've selective memory, or they just don't know it, or they're the sons and daughters of parents who weren't even born. It's like with the civil rights movement, speaking of MLK Jr. Day yesterday. It's like there are people who are on TV now whose parents weren't even born or weren't even of any kind of age of reason, of understanding when MLK was making his speeches and stuff. They don't even really know. They just know whatever, they read a speech, I had a dream. Well, that dream came true. Right? The civil rights movement was a success. I lived through it. It was a success. The feminist movement was a success. Dummy. Right? These people are pretending. There's no, like I said, it's like there's 90,000 homicides in this country every year. So a handful or a couple of dozen of big acts of bigotry around the country. It's like, you know what? It's going to happen because we haven't seen to solve the 90,000 homicides. And you guys are, and so what's the big thing? The big thing, there's some bigots, there's some group, there's some militia somewhere. So fucking what? I mean, what do they represent? Compared to the 90,000 homicides that you haven't been able to solve, or the fact that 650,000 people die of heart attacks every year and 600,000 die of cancer every frickin' year. And you're focused on worrying about, working for the pharmaceutical companies so they can make hundreds of billions of dollars with the thing that, you see what I mean? The whole thing's wacky. And the technology, this is the future for guys like me. But see, unfortunately, for these kids in charge, it's not the future. It's their life. See? It's their present. They don't know. They have no concept. They believe the world is flat and the moon landing was faked. It wasn't. Okay? It wasn't. In fact, you're going down the wrong rabbit hole on that one because I alluded to it earlier last year. I was involved in things 40 years ago, a job I quit when I had a security clearance for a short period of time, I mean, I don't know. I guess they expire or something. I just quit. Don't tell me about anything in space being faked. Is all I could say. Is because there was shit going on that was way, 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 way more advanced than that, than what you saw, than the NASA lunar lander. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. You see, I'm going crazy right now. Because, way, 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 way fucking crazier than that. People. Man. People are such idiots, they have no idea. They had stuff 40 years ago that you can't even imagine, and I'm probably still not allowed to talk about, so I'm not going to talk about it. All I could tell you is you have no idea. And these kids are morons. The people in charge are friggin' morons. They just don't know what's going on. And so here we are in the year 2022. Somebody was on and off. We're in the year 2022, and we have primitive medicine cutting people open. Well, we can't, because the left hand of medicine doesn't know what the right hand of medicine is doing. The doctors, it's McMedicine. They're so busy seeing, 10 patients an hour or something. I don't know how they do it. They just run from room to room, right? And Harvard Medicine doesn't seem to be up on the latest medical journal papers and the latest studies, peer-reviewed studies that have shown that there's a couple of various things that actually dissolve these things. And it's not bile salts. It's bile acids, but it's some formula. It's some litholytic bile acid, UDCA or something. And I could see myself going to some gastrointestinologist or whatever specialist and him saying, yeah, we got to remove it. And I'm saying, well, he'll say, oh, that doesn't really work. Or that's too risky. Well, I'm not getting it removed, man. You know what? I'll just die. Fuck them. I'll just die. Let this be a video of an explanation of it. It's like, I'll be the gallstone martyr to show, What happened to my Tony Caribbean Live thing, too? Why'd that disappear all of a sudden? Where's that? I accidentally delete that. Yeah. That's like my VU meter stopped working. Yeah, these crazy nutbags, it really drives you up a wall. Really drives you up a wall. I know. I'm trying to I don't want to cut off the on-air thing. See, the problem is on TV, I'm fine now. I'm relaxed. I guess that little outburst scared whoever tuned in away. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I got on a rant. Sometimes it happens. It just happens. I was looking for this.
This is insane.
And I couldn't find it. And that's why I got on a rant. So we're an hour and 14 minutes into this show. There's cars driving down the street. They did a pretty good job of clearing the street. You can see the cars pretty well now, too, which is nice. So, I don't know. I'm trying to enlarge this thing to a point where it looks bigger. And that's, I'm doing this in real time, so, you have to bear with me. Because there's certain parts of this that you don't need, well, not you, none of us need to see. So that would be the bottom we don't need to see about 60% of that. Is that right? Let's see. Maybe 80. Yeah, because that just cuts part of the porch off. What we want to look at, the ideas here, what I'm trying to get at, there we go. We want to be able to see the big trucks go by. Right? But we don't care so much about all the other goofiness. You follow? And I want it to be as big as possible. I almost wish this like stupid bookshelf wasn't there. The true marionettes are the media and politicians. Well, at least I had a theme, you know. You know, the sun's going to basically release its outer shell and kill everybody, you know, at some point. So, you know, that's that. You know. So we got that going for us. You could try to make my song Virtual Cage a hit if you really wanted to. That would be nice. You could buy my book, Then What? Yeah, look at that traffic out there. See, I'm just trying curious. You know, I might as well do this live. There's nobody watching this show. I mean, okay, color correction. Like, if I, well, see, the idea that I lightened it allowed me to. The question is, how much can you see? Right? And how much does it really matter? And so maybe I shouldn't have taken so much off of the bottom. Right? Let's see what that does.
People, you sit there, you're in for one big surprise. People, you sit there, you're in for one big surprise. People, you sit there, you're in for one big surprise.
That never gets old. Never gets old. Yeah, so anyway, that's that. And even though there's this weirdness thing going on there, I guess I could put some other kind of thing there to compensate. I'm waiting to see if a car comes up the street, like where it actually is, that if I need to delete and cut short the path, like where does the vehicle? Okay, so I really can cut some of the bottom off. All right, there's a truck. Yeah, and we see that truck full force. So we want to keep as much as the right on there as possible. It just kind of semi screws up my whole screen because of the I don't know, because of the on-air light. If the on-air light wasn't there, I'd have more room. Or if the clock, or if I could, this thing wasn't the way it was. Like if I were able to put something else there, but I can't. I don't know. It's the graphic person in me that just wants, trying to make perfection or something like that. I don't know. Does it really matter? What did we just talk about for the last 5 minutes? Nothing. Absolutely nothing, But that's nothing new.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
I have to check the volume on the playback on this to make sure I got the volume back after that craziness I did. But it does seem like I can move this thing up a little bit more if I wanted to. What the hell? All right. Well, anyway, that's my story. I'm alive. I'm going to keep eating. Get a truck barrel assing up there in the snow, 25 mile an hour speed neighborhood. I don't know. My PSA numbers were basically 0.04. And according to my doctor, I think the last time, I think that's what they were. So I think the 0.4 is just the system they use. It shows like a 0.4. And I'm going to have a urinalysis that can confirm this protein, whatever. And then that could open up a whole nother can of worms. In the meantime, I've got to eat crap. And I'm thinking about I think I might take a walk down to the grocery store this morning, put on my hiking boots, and just trudge through the snow. I'm going to walk in the street, screw these people, and grab a few things. And I'll probably should take an aspirin since I did that ridiculous shoveling earlier. But the exercise might help get my, relax me more, and breathing some fresh air, the fresh, cold morning air. And since it's not that bitter out there, I mean, it's just below freezing. It's 28, and it's going to get colder as the day wears on, which is weird. I can't figure this out. At 7 a.m., it says it's going to be 27 degrees, okay? That's when I'll be taking my walk if I end this show shortly. But at 8 a.m., it's going to be 25 degrees. You figure that one out. I don't know. Anyway, guys.
Good morning.
Thanks for tuning in. Sorry it was kind of a funky, weird show towards the end. Go to ROCKFLUX.com and grab my stuff. Get my latest books. Get my music. Go to Spotify. Play my newer music, not the stuff that's at the top. It's from the old album. I was just experimenting back then. There's a couple of tracks that are half decent, but the new stuff is really freaking good. And if you'd play it and spread the word, put it on your playlist and stuff, it just might hit the top 100. It's that good, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll let you know how things go. Cheers.